Nice. It's not what you think. It's cat people.
What did they tell you about me? I didn't think you were ready. But you are. I knew it when I saw you with him. Your whole body burns.
I'm not like you.
See these eyes so green, I can stare for 1,000 years. Just be still with me. You wouldn't believe what I've been through.
I love you.
Been so long. It's been so long. Putting out the fire, putting out fire with gasoline.
That's right. Tonight on Midnight Reviews, we're actually reviewing the oddly malign 1980s film Cat People starring Natasha Kinski and Malcolm McDowell. It's weird! It is such a weird movie! I don't really want to go into the plot too much because the actual discovery of the events and the things that happen, that's actually half the fun of this film. It's bizarre, it's incestuous. Didn't think I'd mention that so early in these reviews, but yes, it does involve a bit of that. But, yeah, it's weird. Like, check out this clip that I found. Just watch it.
Come and lie next to me.
No.
Oliver doesn't love you. He loves the panther. He wants you because he fears you. Let Alice have him. She thinks his fear is courage, and he thinks his fear is love. Well, they were made for each other.
It'll be all right.
Right? It's odd. Now, a few things about this film is it's actually really well shot. There are a few scenes in this movie that the way that Paul Schrader, the writer and director of this film, the way he frames it is really cool and really creepy the way he does it. And the music, of course, is really great. It's the theme for Cat People is basically the melody of David Bowie's song "Putting Out the Fire" with Gasoline. It's basically that just protracted and like really extended and used throughout the whole movie. And it's really cool because it's animalistic and it has this real feeling of these primal urges, but it's not obvious. Like, it fits, but it isn't so on the nose that you're like, well, of course they used that. But it's really a fantastic score through and through. Natasha Kinski is A, ridiculously hot, and B, does a fantastic job in this role. It's not an easy role for anybody to play, really. The way she has to balance her character between sweet and naive and just seductress like you wouldn't believe. I couldn't think of anybody else to play this role but her, and that's the weirdest thing. Malcolm McDowell, of course, this was back in his heyday, amazing in this role, just amazing. He really actually does some great work scaring you and then proceeding to scare you some more. John Hurd is the main love interest of Natasha Kinski in this film, And Paul Schrader said that he really liked him in this movie because he plays that all-American, gruff, tough guy. And it actually works really well as far as that's concerned. There are a few other stars that pop up here and there that's like, oh yeah, it's that person or that person. It is a very rated R film. I will state that. It's very rated R. It's very graphic in both its violence and its sexuality, but that's part of what the movie is when it comes to the sexuality of these characters and of the storyline, it's not exploitative. It's the point of the movie, but it isn't in there just for the sake of, hey, there's tits. So it's, of course, if you have, if you're if you have a predisposition to not enjoying things like that, don't watch the movie. It's not for you. But if anything that I've said about, people turning into, Black Panthers and then turning back, and the ways they have to do that, like, to be able to turn into a panther, you have to have sex, but you turn back from killing somebody. Like, there's some really weird Jungian and Freudian shit going on in this thing. But yeah, again, I really don't want to say much about the story because it's something that to really behold. It's really interesting. Honestly, I would say if you're interested in, movies that make you think a little bit and their endings are really complex and are an interesting talking point for a lot of people, definitely check this out. And Scream Factory recently put out a fantastic transfer of this movie. And that's actually how I saw it. But yeah, definitely give this movie a watch, especially if some of these clips have interested you at all. But anyway, this has been a midnight review for Glasshouse Films. Don't forget, subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. And don't forget to share these videos. Share this wisdom that I bring to you about random 80s horror films. But anyway, stay tuned, everybody. Rebel, 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 rebel. Ooh! I never knew Ziggy was so well hung.